we are live. For everyone to trickle in here.
I feel like we should be like acting like we're talking to each other.
Yeah, yeah, right. Act like we like each other, you know.
Yeah.
Try to have some rapport before the show starts. Yeah, that'd be nice. All right, here. I think people are. You guys good to go? You posted it. We're all set.
Yep. I just repost right now.
All right, let's do this. What's going on, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Expected Bets 4. On today's episode, we'll be breaking down the 2-game slate for May 1st. Before we get into that, Franco, how are we doing out in Philly here?
Good, man. Starting to get to wrapping up these series. It's
4 already down.
It feels like not a lot of surprises. Like I know we were kind of all high on Winnipeg to an extent, but after seeing those couple of games, it kind of felt inevitable that they were just not good enough.
No.
So I wonder if any of these dogs are going to turn these series around, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, all the favorites in the 4 series that have closed out have won in pretty commanding fashion here. Only one sweep, which I guess is kind of to be expected. We kind of saw Washington. I think they were the favorite to be swept. So that came true. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Betsky, how are we doing in Arizona?
Yeah, pretty good. It's always weird when that first round ends because the first week and a half of playoff hockey feels like there's just so much to soak up and take in, and it's such a treat. And then as you get further into that first round, it's like, oh yeah, there's going to be only 2 games a night, sometimes 1 game a night, and as early as next round. Like sometimes you think it's just in the
as early as tomorrow.
Like that. Yeah, very true.
Yeah, only got 1 game tomorrow.
Yeah, and this round 1 seems quicker than past.
It does.
I would have to
I'll give you that.
But I think we've had a lot of 5.
Yeah,
5 game series.
A lot of 3-1 series right now. It's not ideal. I'm sure the NHL doesn't like it.
Yep.
No. Yeah,
maybe they need to get rid of the stupid format.
Yeah, go back to the old
1.
Yeah.
Completely agree. So obviously tonight, Edmonton can close out LA, and Vegas and Dallas is tied 2-2. I think that's probably been one of the most interesting series here, with the road teams winning every game. Nashville fought back last night, made it 3-2 in that series. That's going to be a great Game 6 coming up on Friday. And Boston, Toronto, 3-2. The Leafs make it a series. Win Game 5 in Boston. Yeah. They go back to Scotiabank. Before we get into today's games, what are your thoughts on this series here? Because this is the most storylines the series has in the first round. It's got to be Boston, Toronto.
It's like who's going to choke, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to
really
choke more?
Is, yeah.
Feels a little reminiscent of Florida, Boston right now.
Yep.
It does.
That's scary. I mean, who's more scared at this point? I guess you have
Boston,
to be
by far. They can't give up 3-1 leads in back-to-back playoffs.
Yeah. Is there any news on Matthews right now? I haven't checked today at all. Is he going to be good to go?
I don't think there's been much chatter, so no idea.
I wonder though, if he's been just resting and relaxing and trying to get back up to 100%, if he can come back, that's massive. Because he stole Game 2. He looked phenomenal in Game 2, and then he didn't look very good in 3, and then obviously Game 4 he just left because he was so bad. So I don't know. I saw stats saying that Toronto is 0-5 their last 5 games at home in the playoffs. So I don't know. Something's got to give, right?
That's brutal.
I mean, that's been the knock on that arena, right? You have silence. It's not the
suits. Isn't that
it's
what
not
they
the blue. It's not
the
suits. Yes, it's not the blue collar hardcore Leafs fans, the real fans that are in that city. It's all the people that have the money, and they're sitting on their hands discussing business deals. It's like, what the hell are you here for? Watch the freaking game.
Yeah, it's client dinners and $1,000 seat to the Maple Leafs playoff game. You even see him travel though to Buffalo. I mean, the seats are so expensive up there that there's buses that have come down. I think a round trip, it's cheaper to go to a game in Buffalo to see Toronto play than to go 15, 20 minutes from where they live, which is insane to think about as well.
Yeah, it's just messed up for the fans because, like,
Yeah,
I'm sure any of the real fans want to be there and they want to be loud and get rowdy and cheer a team on. And they just are resigned to have to watch from home and hear the silence in the arena where, like, you can hear a pin drop. It's just pathetic.
Yeah, it really is. All right, let's get to the first game on the slate tonight. We have Vegas, Dallas. The series is tied at 2. As I mentioned before, the road team has won each of the first 4 games. Dallas has looked like the better team, and I think at least 3 of these matchups, despite it being tied 2-2. I'll start with you, Betsky. Any looks in Vegas, Dallas here, and kind of where are you going in terms of shot props? Because I know there's a few options on the board.
One prop that really looked suspicious price-wise, I guess I'll highlight 2.
Okay.
The first one that I noticed was, why is Miro Heiskanen's point -175? He has 3 assists and a goal in the 4 games, and I think he has a point in 3 of those 4. But over the course of the season, I think he's only had a point in like 54% of all games. So he's priced like he's a guy who's a point per game player. And then his assist is -125. And I think he can get some nice value there. But it makes me think that he is expected to have an elevated role. I took a look at his minutes. He had a game where he had like 34 minutes. So you're talking about a guy who's going to potentially be on the ice for a third of the game. If you think there's going to be some goaltending issues for Vegas, you got to think he's going to be able to touch the puck before it goes in once, right?
Yeah.
So I really like his assists, and you can chop around. I wrote about it in my betting news article, and we do like bet online for that. So that was kind of that type of book. I bet you can find that assist in a little bit lower if you want, but it gives me pause on his shots too, because let me see where his shots are at.
I mean, he's on that top power play, and they've hit in 2 of the last 3 games as well. So you figured there's another angle.
He has a power play point on one of those games.
Power play's been good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's a sneaky good one. Like Ben -115 for a point was really interesting to me. I think there's some good value there too, especially since he's back on the top power play. I know Wyatt's kind of the shots on goal darling right now, but he is way better on the road at 3.5. So if anything, I'm totally fine with him at 2.5. 3.5 with plus money looks kind of nice. I would almost rather just risk it and go for 5 then. But I'm fine with waiting for the road game because we're going to get one more game in Vegas no matter what. So I'd rather just take Wyatt next game. Again, 2.5 looks like a great parlay piece. Jason Robertson looks fantastic. It's a parlay piece, and even at 4, it's pretty intriguing at plus money if you have alts. And then Marcia Schultz, man, just constantly getting mispriced. That was going to be the other misprice I wanted to talk about. So his shots, he's insane away. I think he was 63% on the season or around there. On the road, specifically in the playoffs, that number goes up. In the playoffs in general, I think he's closer to, I'm going to say it's 69% nice. Over the past 2 seasons. Yeah. And you can get his shots for, it went down. It was opened up around like -140-ish today, -135. I'm seeing it around -165 now. His point, though, which he is also fantastic at in the playoffs, is, Mr. MVP Conn Smythe last year, -130. Top line with Eichel. So the books are either just completely mispricing this guy or there's a little distrust in the Vegas offense. And then on the flip side, Miro seems completely mispriced on the other end, which makes me think that they think that power play unit is going to maybe take a different approach. Or maybe they just know that they are going to work him again and he's going to potentially be on the ice for another 34 minutes a game.
Yes, we didn't mention at the beginning. Aiden Hill will get the start for Vegas tonight,
Yeah.
shaking things up as Logan Thompson has got the start in the first 4 games. In regards to that Wyatt Johnston prop here, I know people have said the home and away splits has kind of been the reason they've stayed off tonight specifically. We talked about in the first game when Jamie Benn had 7 shots on that line of kind of the veteran presence. He was going to be the guy to kind of bring these rookies along and show them kind of get their feet wet in terms of the postseason. Even though he missed in those first 2 games, he had 9 and 8 attempts, which I don't mind at all. So it's not like he wasn't shooting the puck. If he had had 4 or 3 attempts, 2, and kind of just the numbers were really that bad, I would have stayed off. But at 9 and 8 attempts, and then you look at his next 2 games, 8 shots on goal, 15 attempts, 6 shots on goal, 11 attempts. At plus 120, plus 130 range tonight, I don't mind that at all. I think there's some value there to be had, especially if Dallas kind of carries his confidence over from games 3 and 4, and they try to kind of break this streak of road games or road teams winning. So that was the look I had. And then in terms of, well, before I get into the other one, I'll throw it to you, Franco, so I don't take any yours. Who do you like in Vegas, Dallas?
I'm kind of laying off Wyatt as well. So you're
okay.
Kind of running
solo bullet here. Yeah.
I do think the attempts are enough of an argument to take it, by the way.
Yes.
And if this was potentially the last game in the series, I think I'd be more prone to just want to grab it. But I do like trying to show restraint at times.
I haven't taken him the past 2 times, so this could come back to bite me here.
The other thing too is like the way he got it last game. Like I don't know if you guys saw how it happened, but he had 3 shots within a span of like a second because it was like a shot, save, rebound, save, rebound. And then he kind of went silent for a while. He had the goal, obviously the power play goal, and then he got one later, I believe. But I mean, if you again, you can't take away what happens, obviously, but if you take away that little sequence right there, he only has 2 shots. So I don't want to say that I'm down on him. Like I love Wyatt Johnston. He's awesome. He's a freaking exciting player to watch. And I don't know, but it kind of has that feeling to me of like you're bumping him up to 3.5 now. And it feels like the Lehkonen thing from yesterday, right? So Lehkonen finally got juiced up. He had been plus money, like real nice plus money for 4 games of the series or whatever it was. And then finally they moved on to like minus 130, minus 140. And he finishes with 1 shot. He scores a goal, but he can't get there, you know? So like I more want to look at his points or goal prop than I do want to look at his shots. That's kind of where that's kind of what I'm getting to. I think the energy he brings and stuff, I know he's like minus 140 for a point, but again, I think the Hill move is not, I get why they're doing it, but I don't think it's a good move. I think Logan Thompson has been awesome this series. I
do too.
The problem with VGK, yeah, I mean, how many that game 3 was ridiculous.
Game 3 was phenomenal.
Dallas should have been up like 3 or 4-0 after the first period. It was only 1-0. It was crazy, the onslaught they had on him, and even that the last game they had a couple really nice chances at points, and he kept them in it. So I don't get it. Like I understand trying to shake things up, and I mean, not only are they doing that, they're shifting their lines all over the place too. So like any chemistry that was starting to form, I don't know that there necessarily was, is being shifted as well. I feel like Vegas is panicking big time in this game, and I hate the price on the Stars tonight. I wish it was bettable, but I don't know. I don't like what Vegas is doing. It's like you're shaking up your goalie and your lines. Like usually you only do one.
I even thought that it was suspicious of what Dallas was priced at last game. They were the road favorites, and they were like minus 130 in Vegas game 2.
Yeah.
Like game 2 on the road.
Game 4, yeah.
Yeah. And I it's almost like showing your cards a little bit here. Minus 160 where the road team has won every game. And I think watching these teams, yes, I agree. I think Dallas has been slightly better. Vegas has really only really looked like the more dominant team. Maybe game 1, game 2, I thought was a lot more even than games 3 3 was all Dallas. And game 4, I thought was closer than maybe a lot of other people thought, or maybe even as, I don't know. I didn't think Vegas looked like atrocious or anything game 4.
It felt like more like ho hum. If like they didn't really show me.
I would
much.
agree. I would agree with that. Yeah.
I won't say it's as bad as Boston. I won't say it's as bad as Boston the other night, but it just it didn't seem like they had any kind of juice to them, and Dallas had like spurts of it. It was kind of a weird game, but
so it's
I don't know.
Somebody hurt that, and they're just
I don't know.
Yeah.
Are like 5 people hurt,
or it's just like you have a lot of big name, like you have a lot of big name personality players, right? Like not necessarily personality, but big name like star level at least players, right? How do you mix that? It's you got to have that chemistry, and I know like everybody wants to build a fantasy team, and you go into your NHL video game and you trade for all the players you love, and you put these lines together and you just dominate because it's whatever. But that's what this team kind of feels like at times, and it's like it doesn't mean it's going to work. Just because you have all the names together doesn't mean you can find that chemistry. Like, and it just doesn't feel like that. Eichel has looked great. But I mean, otherwise, who from VGK has looked really good? I think
did game 1.
Hannafin's looked pretty damn good.
Hannafin's look good.
But
Stone
I mean,
hasn't
like,
been the same.
Yeah, I mean, like you can count the amount of players on your hand, and honestly, Logan Thompson has been probably the best of all of them.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah,
I'd have to agree.
Bench him this game.
He's kept him in this series.
Yeah, I again, maybe it works. Maybe it gives a spark to the team. But like to me, I would be pissed if I'm Logan Thompson, and like Aiden Hill hasn't played since the 18th, and in that game he gave up 3 goals against friggin' Anaheim on 22 shots. So like,
so hoping he recreate some of that playoff magic from last year, I guess.
Yes, but like he hasn't been good this year. Like overall, I would say he missed
wasn't
a bunch
good
of
last
games.
year heading into the playoffs. I don't think.
Yeah, I know.
No,
I guess
goalies are voodoo. He's a career backup. I've watched him for years when he was on the Coyotes, and he flashes. He's a big goalie, but
when he was on San Jose and they'd play the Sabres with Aaron Dell, it would be just an automatic over. That was my favorite game of the season.
Yep. So I don't know. With all that being said, I mean, I like Dallas tonight. I can't bet them at the prices and stuff like that. Maybe I might look live if VGK gets a goal, but I just don't like what I've seen from VGK overall. And I would say like it feels like Dallas should be up in the series based on like what the eye test shows me. And for it to be 2-2, I feel like Vegas is a little bit fortunate. And now you're taking out your goalie that's made that the case. So maybe it works. I don't like it. I don't like the move. So like I said, I like Johnson props. I'm probably going to go with his goal and point prop as opposed to shots. I do like the Colin Robertson shots as well. That's a great parlay piece. Eichel feels like a free parlay piece at this point. He's only minus 180 for a point, and like I feel like you just throw that in with something else that you like later in the later game or something like that.
Kempe shots, Kempe 2.5.
Yeah, something, whatever. I mean, he looks great, man. Like he really. I know Gator's probably like, I hate that guy, but he looks good, man. He's the guy right now.
Yeah.
So, and I would expect some sort of pushback from them. I saw some comments from March or so saying that we got to be better. Somebody needs to step up. So maybe it's him, but I'm going to continue to look at block shots in this series because I feel like there's a lot of value there. I've had a little bit of a struggle trying to decide who it is. I was on Miro last game and he ended up with an egg, even though, you feel like you want to get the guys with the most ice time, which he has, and the most PK time, which he's on the second unit. And, he doesn't get there. Harley had like 1,000 blocks and Lindell had like 1,000 blocks as well. So it's hard to know like when someone's going to.
He's not listed currently on the second power PK unit. I think they switched.
He's not.
Suter and Tanev in the back end.
Oh, okay. So they moved him off. Okay.
That's why I was a little bit hesitant too, because
Yeah, but I don't know that it matters, man. I mean, like that's what I've been kind of basing stuff on in the playoffs, and like it hasn't worked out for me sometimes. So I don't know. I feel like I want to go back to McNabb blocks. He had only won the last game. It's like he's been off and on type. I just don't. I don't know. There's someone's gonna have a big game. It's just who the hell is it gonna be? May you just continue to ride Tanev. He's minus 150, but again, that's a piece, and you put it with something else in the later game.
Yeah,
I looked at. Sorry, go ahead, Betsky.
Oh, that goes right to the question in the comments about leaning towards Wyatt 2 shots or Tanev 2 blocks. I think I gotta go the blocks here. I mean, 2 shots for Wyatt seems easy too. But if we're talking about Vegas already kind of talking about making a big push back and whatnot, then I think that means you're going to see a lot of shots. But
I like them both.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with if you can get both of these alted down to 2. I don't think you could go wrong. If I'm taking them at their normal lines, I'm probably going to go for the Tanev blocks because if Dallas gets the lead early against Hill, who is potentially rusty and was a magical goalie last year, but who knows what he is right now. The Dallas is one of those teams that is totally willing to just bully you around and hog puck possession time and not worry about peppering the goalie with shots. So game script wise, I think you're a lot safer with Tanev here because you got both sides of it. Vegas making a big push, Vegas needing a big push. And then if for some reason Dallas is in the lead early, you got Vegas obviously trying to catch up. If Vegas takes the lead early here, I mean, it could still be one of those situations where they don't let the pedal off.
No, we've seen them push this series even when they're still up.
Yeah,
because they know. I mean, Thompson's been good, but again, like Dallas has gotten a few of those clutch goals at certain moments here. I don't mind Heiskanen at over 1.5 block shots tonight. I don't either. Franco, you obviously 0 in game 4, but he's hit in each of the previous games.
He's minus 120.
Yeah,
for 1.5.
Yeah, that's why
I
love it.
He was minus 140 last game. The price is right. Him and Hannafin both look good for price and number wise. Like him and Hannafin both look really good.
Yeah,
at that 1.5 line. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm going to be on Heiskanen block shots tonight for sure.
It seems like when a guy gets a 0, they come back and get a bunch.
I do expect the push. I do expect the push from Vegas tonight, despite the line shuffling, the goaltender changing. I mean, this game 5 is going to be the series pretty much here. I don't see a team rattling off 2 wins if they lose game 5, especially in this series. You do.
I do Dallas. I don't see Vegas. I could see Dallas going out there winning in Vegas and coming home and winning.
Yeah, I guess. Because
I can't see Vegas winning at home and then in Dallas.
Because then there's that whole goalie controversy too, in terms of do they go back to Thompson in game 6 if they lose this one? So
exactly, unless Hill looks like Hill from last year.
So I just looked up one thing that's going to affect that kind of. Well, I guess not Heiskanen, but this game in general. I feel like a lot of Vegas's productivity has been on the power play. Their 5 versus 5 has just not been that good. So one of the referees ranks 7th in penalties a game. The other one ranks 27th. So looking like around 8 penalties called per game between the two. So just something to consider. I just want to look that up real quick. It's worth a peek. So that could play into Vegas shooting more as well. I know you said Heiskanen's not on that penalty kill, but it seems like he's getting penalty kill minutes. So I don't know if they're just like rotating. The last game I saw him on the PK last game at points. He's just not like the main guy.
No, I think at minus 120, it's worth a dabble, especially tonight, kind of given the game script that we're expecting. Any other thoughts on Vegas, Dallas here before we move on to the next game?
Do you guys think this is like I feel like most of the games have gone kind of under, right? Do you think this is a more of an over game, or especially with Hill coming in? Over 1.5 in the first period is minus 115. That looks pretty good, to be honest with you. I feel like there's been goals in the first period, regardless.
The total opened at 6 in this game and has since dropped to 5.5. So that's worth noting. I'm not sure if that was due to Hill or just kind of
people think that Hill's gonna come save this team.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you had said that 2 years ago before he went on that playoff run, I think you'd get banned from Twitter. If
I mean, I
Adin Hill
think
was going to be
like
your savior.
Hill is who he is, right? He's not coming in hot like he was. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. On to the next game. We have LA Edmonton. Edmonton can close this series out tonight with a 3-1 lead. We're at home. Do you think LA has any shot here in Game 5, Betsky?
Judging by Franco's shirt, no.
Yeah, Franco was full Oilers tonight.
No, I actually think they could make a big pushback here and get another one. The last two games have been a little weird. I mean, last game obviously was all Oilers, but I mean, how many people had a 1-0 Oilers win in this series? You know,
No one.
yeah, and I mean, I think that says a lot about the Oilers. But we saw the Kings go into Edmonton in Game 2 and come out flying. And after that beatdown they just took, in such a tight, close game where they kind of got out kinged, I could see them coming down and making a big pushback. Skinner's been good. He's a solid goalie. They got really lucky with finding that kid after such a disastrous pickup with kind of their tandem last year. But there's a little bit of Ottinger in his game, I think, where there's a little bit of ups and downs, and he kind of
Very
seems
vulnerable.
like, yes. So he's kind of the type that you let in a bad goal or so, and it seems like it gets in his head a little bit. So, man, a quick Kempe or Denault goal or something, I feel like could really change the shift here. Now, I would definitely lean Edmonton. I think Edmonton's the better team. I think Edmonton should be able to wrap this series up here. But I don't know, if you're looking to bet on a dog tonight, I definitely don't mind the value you can get on the Kings here.
I think both dogs are live tonight.
Yeah, I kind of don't mind either. I mean, I feel like the Vegas Dallas one's probably more of a coin toss, but I do really think that that Dallas line is very suspicious. Very, very suspicious.
Yeah. I mean, Edmonton only had 13 shots on goal last game.
Jeez.
Which I think is one of their lowest of the season.
They took the game off.
Yeah.
Rested and ready for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary to think about if Edmonton if they can win 1-0 games or 2-1 games, that's scary for every other team that they're going to come in contact with now. Like we know they can win 5-3. We know that.
Yeah.
But 7-6.
If you can win, yeah, I mean, seriously.
Yeah, pick a number. Over 5. Yeah, they can do it.
But the fact that game happens and that's pretty scary. I think Skinner's look great. I agree with you, Betsy.
But yeah, I still am going to lean Edmonton here. Maybe it is a good spot to. You may even be able to get Kings at plus money if they take the lead 1-0. So if you want to play it that way and go live with it, but man, if the Kings take an early lead, I'm probably going to be just as tempted to take Edmonton at a good price. I think I'm talking myself out like Kings. This is Edmonton. I think this is going to be a
that was just a little work through the brain right there. Get the gears clicking, and you're like, all right. One of those where you have to talk it out.
Yeah. I think maybe I'm going to be looking to jump in at a better price if Kings take an early lead. The props in this game are pricing. This entire series has been great, but Kempe at 4 shouldn't scare anyone. I'm definitely jumping on that. Got him in the parlay. I'll probably want to take that as a straight 2 or just the 4. I mean, his historical data games against Edmonton, he's completely fine at 4, even though his line's usually 2.5 for most of the season. Evander Kane, he missed last game, still had 2 shots. I'm fine with going tonight. Right. Yeah, I'm going right back.
On him tonight.
You if you trust the data and trust the history, like I think he's only missed twice or 3 times. Maybe it's 4 at worst out of the last 20. I know he's hit at like an 80% clip rate against LA. So if anything, I feel way better.
Yeah, and expecting Edmonton to put double, if not triple, the amount of shots on tonight. So
yep, I think Bouchard shots look great again. I'm all about Kopitar as a parlay piece. I'm comfortable taking him to 3 if you want that plus money. If you want to do kind of like a stepped up shots on goal parlay where you take like Kopitar, Denault, Fiala, maybe bring Kempe down to 3 and Draisaitl at 3, and then you take them all up 1. I'm totally fine with that. I don't know if I would take
no, Kopitar's really minus 125 at 1.5 tonight.
Oh, I did not realize that. That's worth it while as a straight.
That feels like a no-brainer.
Yeah. His history against them is insane. It's just
it's truly wild.
He's hitting 79% of the games against Edmonton
at 1.5.
Yeah, at 1.5.
And they didn't offer his shots on goal line. I think game 1, maybe not game 2 either. So it's almost like one of those. And if you look at his last 10 games, he was not shooting much. But of course, he missed game 1 and has hit all 3 other games so far.
Well, the shots last time. Veteran presence. You got to figure he's coming out firing tonight.
People have been calling him out a little bit, saying that it's Byfield's team now, or that we're watching the changing of the hands.
Team.
Well,
what are we doing here? Come on,
not yet.
Not yet.
Like but come
he
on,
needs another good year.
Yeah,
Kopitar at 1.5. Yeah, add it to the card. That's a no-brainer.
But speaking of Byfield, his point looks great.
He's been great
Plus
against
110.
Edmonton. Yep.
He has 4 points in the 4 games, only missed once. Has hit against Edmonton 12 of the last 22 games, including playoffs. I think he's hit every single game this season against them. He has a point. Yeah.
Except for I know we're talking about Edmonton winning this game, but you got to figure, I mean, as we saw in game 2, the Kings are going to make a push here. I don't think they're going to roll over by any means here.
No. Nope.
So if you're looking in terms of props, obviously I like a few on Edmonton's side. LA's props, like if you're going to do a same game parlay, this feels like the one to do it.
Agreed. I mean, is anybody backing off of McDavid 2 points tonight?
I have it on my card. No, I have that at like 130, I think.
Yeah, why not? Right.
Like 140 now, but yeah.
Fuck. Franco, who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I do like Edmonton. I don't like the price, obviously, on them, and doing the reg and puck line and stuff like that does kind of scare me a little bit because this does feel like an overtime type of game. I feel like we had one in, what was that, game 2, game 3? Forget. Game 2, right? So now we've had a few games off of it. This has been like a heavy draw series between these two. So I kind of feel like we're due for one, unfortunately. So that kind of takes out the Edmonton puck line, the Edmonton -1 or in reg type of bets. I probably will sprinkle on that draw. I think it's a pretty good price. I think you're getting well over 300 or plus 300 for it. I'm going back to Draisaitl, 2 points. He had hit it in 3 out of the 4 games in the series. Missed obviously that last game, and then I just think it's the price is just insane compared to what we're seeing McDavid at. Obviously, I get why McDavid is where he is, but it has dropped to plus 130. We saw it like plus 170, plus 160. So obviously, the books think that he's going to go over 2 points in this game. So again, it just feels like lots of value on the Edmonton side. I might do let's see here. Bouchard assist -130. I don't really love that cost for him for the assist, but maybe you go power play point. I think again we're going to see Edmonton power play do their thing. So pick 2 or 3 guys and hope that they hit. I mean, it's just the value's just constantly there on the Edmonton plays. So I love Kempe shots. I'm on that as well. I'm going to go up to the 4 with him. I have a parlay as well with his 3 with McDavid and Draisaitl point You can do that on FanDuel and Bet365, and it's plus money, which is just ridiculous to me because I feel like McDavid and Draisaitl just to get a point is pretty damn safe, and then you're getting Kempe at 3. So just for that little bit of safety, I don't see Kempe staying under 3 again. I know he had 2 that last game. So I love Kempe at 3. Obviously, 3.5 I like as well, but 3 just feels really, really safe in a potential elimination game. I think he had a ton of shots blocked the last game too. So staying away from Fiala, home road splits, I don't love. I do expect the Kings to be firing though. So I like the over. 6.5 is plus money on DK. Yeah. I don't know if there's any 6s hanging around anywhere. That might be worth a look as well. I think no matter what, you're not seeing a 1-0 game again. And I could see Edmonton scoring 4. I like their team total over 3.5 as well. So I could see a 3-3 game going into OT and then Edmonton winning in overtime 4-3. Like that's kind of like the story that I have in my mind. So
I like this story. That's a hell of a story. You can grab 6 on BetMGM and Caesars for those available. I just put this together. It's on FanDuel, so keep in mind this is 60-minute shots. Kopitar 2, Kane 3, Fiala 3, Kempe 3, Draisaitl and McDavid just 1 point apiece. It's plus 1,200.
Wow.
That feels pretty good.
Say it again.
Kopitar 2 shots. Kane 3 shots. Fiala 3 shots. Kempe 3 shots.
And then the
Draisaitl and McDavid just a point. Plus 1,200 on FanDuel.
Yep.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, I mean the Kings are going to be firing. There's no way. I see no scenario where you're not seeing a ton of shots, regardless of what the score is.
It's the only thing that's worked for them so far.
Yes,
is to just unload and go and attack them with speed. It's that game too. They looked like Edmonton.
They were, that was an incredible game.
So why aren't we looking at Skinner saves at 26.5?
That seems so low.
I feel like these elimination games, I feel like you want to look at the goalie that's the eliminating goalie. And obviously Freddie Anderson was at 24.5 yesterday, and I considered it, but then I realized it was the Islanders. So, but I mean, any other competent offensive team should be able to hit a number like this. 26.
So the 4 games, they had 37 in game 1, 26 in game 2, 28 game 3, and 33 game 4. The only game they won, they were outshot.
Interesting. Well, they took the early lead in that one, right? They were up. They were up early and they sat back, right?
That was the overtime game.
Yeah.
They were up. All right. Any other thoughts here before we head to Boston, Toronto, and then we'll circle back and put together a parlay?
No, I think I'm pretty good.
Okay. All right. Next game up here tomorrow. Lone game on Thursday. We got Boston, Toronto. Toronto comes out, wins game 5 in TD Garden to make this a series. Betsky, do we have another goalie controversy on our hands?
Probably. I mean,
right? You got to think so.
Last year. This happened last year.
It did.
Oh man.
I don't feel bad for Bruins fans at all.
To me, there's this, and I don't. Last year they had Bergeron and Krejci, but this year I think you are seeing the fact that they have Pavel Zacha and Charlie Coyle as their top 2 centers. I think you're seeing
first episode of the season or the year, the preview.
Yeah,
that was our one gripe against Boston.
All regular season being fine with it, but I think this is where a team that can roll 3 lines out that can score on you can really take advantage of it. I really do think that first home game in Toronto, I really think the refs won that for Boston. that no call against Marchand that immediately led to Marchand scoring was the nail in the coffin, and it should never have happened.
Yep.
If Toronto wins that game and you are 2-2 in Boston, and now they won that and are coming back 3-2, the series done. There's like no concern, even if Matthews is out, because the team plays harder when one of their stars seems to be out for some reason.
Yeah. Knives was incredible last game. He's been incredible this series.
Yeah. And I mean, you can win with Bertuzzi, Domi, Nyes, and then a little bit of supporting skill around. I mean,
second line
Boston.
of
It's like in Boston.
Marner, yeah.
Pasternak hasn't done enough. The defense is just gooning it up for Boston, and they just can't afford to take penalties like this. So,
despite being up 3-2, I don't think Boston's look great.
Yeah. I mean, there's been times though where I'm like, man, that Toronto just can't capitalize on this.
Yeah, I mean, but Boston played their worst game of the series last one.
That's true.
By far.
That's true. Maybe I have a little too much recency bias here, but
so do you think they just rebound in Game 6 and try to close out in Toronto, or do you think this goes 7?
I think it goes 7. I think Toronto still wins this. I think Toronto's going to find a way to win it.
I liked him yesterday. I didn't take him. I had it penciled down too in my card, and I was like, "Fuck, should have taken him."
I know. I was the same way. I let the Matthews stuff bother me too much, even though
I had a feeling they were going to come out and do something Toronto-y after being criticized for those just lambasted for the past 2 days. So,
well, I'm watching that game too.
Big game.
Yeah, Marner looked a little bit better last game.
Yep. So I guess the question is, does Matthews come back, right? We don't know at this point.
I think Toronto wins if he doesn't.
I do too.
Yeah. Is it a negative if he comes back? If he's not 100%?
I think so. If he's not 100%, I think so.
I agree. I think it's a crazy take, arguably, but without Matthews in the lineup, I think they look better
against Boston. Though,
yes.
I don't think they'll look better against Florida. Oh man,
Florida smoke.
Yeah, who's yeah?
I don't know if I want Carolina, or I'm sorry, I want Florida Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final. I think Carolina is a great team, but I really like a lot of those players. But
that would be more fun.
It'll be a lot more fun. I also think Carolina won't match well against Florida.
Regardless of even if they play the Rangers, I think Florida is looking damn good to win the East right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too far off topic, but Freddie Anderson didn't look good those last few games, to be honest with you guys. Like,
no.
You're giving up all those goals to the Islanders. What do you think the Rangers or the Panthers or even the Leafs or Bruins are going to do against you? I mean, I thought it was pretty poor.
Me too.
They had like nine shots on goal. 3 of them went in. Like, what the hell are we doing? They can't even muster chances, and yet you have 3 goals against you.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Yeah. No.
If it was Florida Carolina in the conference finals last year, huh?
Was it?
Carolina beat Jersey. Yeah. I don't even remember that series.
Nope.
I think Florida rolled them.
Like I said, I think Florida has the perfect path to the cup right now.
Me too.
I wonder what they are in terms of to win the East.
You know what's funny?
The favorite.
I think Toronto's got a better chance to beat them than Boston.
Depends on the goaltending situation. I mean, Wool looked better in the last game. I think they continue to ride with him. I think Samsonov's done for now.
Yeah. I know we're off topic at this point. I just think that you're going to have to break Bob. Right?
You're gonna have to score, and
It's going to
Boston's
have
not.
to
Yeah,
be. It's going to have to be like how Colorado just dismantled Winnipeg.
yeah.
And I trust Toronto to be able to do that more than Boston.
So Carolina got swept by Florida last year in the playoffs. That shows how much we remember. Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's completely gone from my memory.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't remember that.
In fairness, I think I may have been in Europe.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But man.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they don't match up well. I think that's pretty true.
Yeah. If you had to give a pick, Game 6, I go Toronto.
Yeah, I think like I said, that if that stat I read is true, that they were 0-5 at home, their last 5 home games, I think this is the game they get off that schneid, so to speak.
Me too.
And again, you have the goalie controversy in Boston.
Again.
Like, I don't get the like constant shifting of the guys. Like, you have to make a guy your guy, and you only switch it if you absolutely need to. Kind of like what Winnipeg should have done.
Yes.
In that last game yesterday, there's no reason Brossoit shouldn't have been playing that. But
Brossoit should have started game 4.
Yeah. But you just pay that goalie all the money, and you're just like,
who cares?
Yep. Yeah, him and Scheifele got what, matching deals? 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're Montgomery tomorrow, who do you play?
I think he's going to put Ullmark in, right?
I do too, and I think it's a dumb move.
I think he has to ride with Swayman here, because if he switches to Ullmark in one heartbeat, then Game 7 gets a hell of a lot more interesting.
I think he's going to start Ullmark, but he should start Swayman. I think that's.
Just ride with Swayman.
Is that our consensus that he's going to make the wrong decision?
Yes.
Who the hell wants to have to make that decision? You know.
No, it's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Like,
unless
it's not
you win.
Yeah. But then again, it brings to that whole series of, so say Ullmark wins Game 6. Is it then his crease until he loses, and then you have more issues in the second round?
Yeah,
when does Swayman come back to the net?
It never gets easier. It's just constant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it should have. Was Swayman in Game 1?
Swayman,
yes. Swayman Game 1, Ullmark Game 2. They lost.
Yes. And then Swayman.
Yep.
Yes.
Why? Yeah, you just ride Swayman.
He made his bed by choosing Swayman that last game and not continuing the alternating.
Yes.
So,
yep. That's the other thing. You could have. Kept.
I think he's going. I think he's going to make the wrong. I think he's going to start Ullmark. It's just.
I hope so.
It's going to be like Vegas right now, starting Hill tonight. It's like that panic decision. Like,
yep.
You're like, what do I got to do? What do I got to do?
If they start Ullmark tomorrow, I love Toronto even more.
Me too. Me too. Let's not forget, Ullmark was a backup goalie. I know all goalies are in a way, but he was like a career backup for
all these Buffalo cast-offs here. We're talking about Aiden Hill.
Choose your fighter. Yeah, really.
Like Swayman is like a thoroughbred, you know. Ottinger is like a thoroughbred.
Did you see on Chicklets too?
Aiden Hill is goalie magic. Ullmark is somewhere between goalie magic and a good goalie.
Yeah.
He's more like a Kemper in my mind.
Yeah, where he could be good. He could have a good season, but he's not going to string together 5 straight good seasons.
Nope.
Yeah, I saw that thing on Chicklets the other day too that said Swayman was passed up by Toronto, 1 pick before him. So that's where the hatred comes from.
Oh, you have to play him then. God.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that interesting too.
I mean, the script is that Toronto is going to win this game without Matthews. Matthews is going to come back Game 7, and then Toronto's going to lose in Game 7, right?
Yeah. Yep. No, it sounds about right.
And everybody's going to blame Matthews.
Yeah. And everybody's going to want to burn it down, even though they're excited about it now. But I could totally see that.
if Toronto wins this game tomorrow, Boston has to be like, I don't know, maybe Toronto does win, just given how Boston blew that 3-1 series last year. Like, it's a pretty similar team in terms of the personnel.
The way
Well,
these
the
games are
advantage
going
is
even looks
for them.
similar. Like, I still vividly remember, I think it was game 3 last year when Florida was just pummeling them and getting in their heads, and Tkachuk just made them completely unravel. And Reeves has been, I mean, say what you will about him, but he's just been smashing guys, especially first home game. Nyes is playing more like a power forward. Bertuzzi's was such a great pickup. Domi's playing really well.
Domi finally found his home.
What? Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean,
Domi's been a stray dog for the past 7 seasons or so. He's bounced
ever
around.
since we let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
It's going to be a great one. And at least it's soloed, so you don't have to try to flip back and forth or worry about
just
anything
enjoy it.
else. Sit back, enjoy it.
Unless Marchand gets one in the first 5 minutes and then a second one after he eats
I mean,
somebody's ear.
are we discounting Boston too much? Like, you got to imagine that Montgomery is just ripping them apart today after that effort.
Haven't people really soured on Montgomery after like 2 years, though? Isn't this a thing that follows him?
Kind of, I guess, at this point. It just.
Well, they ripped into Cassidy when he left.
If you watch that game, though, like, was there
I'm
any
sorry,
point?
I was thinking Cassidy.
Oh,
I was thinking
yeah.
Cassidy.
Say Cassidy got run out of town.
Yeah, no, I was thinking Cassidy.
Yeah.
But if you were watching that game, was it like I had Boston money line with a parlay in that game, like with Marchand point, I parlayed it, and I did not feel confident about Boston winning that game at any point. I don't know why I didn't hedge out of it, because to me it felt like Toronto just had everything, and even though they weren't scoring, Boston just looked sleepy and lethargic. You have to imagine they have a somewhat of a bounce back, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's 15 different scripts you could put out there, and they'd all be.
No,
I know.
You could all argue for them.
I know. It's just, I feel like you can really go either way. There's no definitive yes or no answer here, but Toronto coming back home just kind of feels good.
It does. And like everything has to go the opposite way then.
Toronto's the favorite tomorrow, too.
Yeah, minus 115, though. It's not like too crazy.
All right. We could go through scripts for another hour here. Let's put our parlay together for tonight here, and then we'll wrap up. Any plays? I know we talked about probably about 15 in Edmonton, LA, it seems like, and we have another 10 in Vegas, Dallas. So any plays that you guys want to include in tonight's parlay? Do you have a best bet or anything?
Let me think about it here. I feel like I want to be on that Edmonton game, but that seems like it has more of the consensus plays, right?
Could do just the same game parlay, but you can do 2 in that one and then 1 in Vegas, Dallas.
I'll do Johnston Point. How about that? That way that clears up. You guys can do something in the Edmonton game.
Okay.
Because Johnston Point, I don't really want to bet straight at minus 140. Minus 145, whatever.
Wyatt Johnston. Minus 145 on DK. So we're going to go same game parlay in Edmonton, LA.
Or you can add something from Dallas. I don't know if you like something in that game.
You can same game points now pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere. Yeah. So we don't have to be too.
Are we doing this on DK?
I have it up on DK right now.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends if you want to do alt lines on shots or whatever. But I think if you're going just straight shots and we're parlaying, you should be using DK just because you don't have to worry about 60-minute lines.
Yep. Okay, so
any thoughts on? I really like that Vander Kane at 2.5 minus 125.
I do
line.
too. I'm fine with that, and that gives us some nice not just juiced value.
Yep.
I
All right,
really
sweet.
like Hannafin shots. He had 10 attempts last game, 6 the game before.
They
He's
offer
hit
Hannafin
in
shots?
16 of the last 20 games.
I don't think
see Hannafin on DK.
I don't see Hannafin shots on DK.
Might be FanDuel only.
Dang. Okay. Oh, fuck it. I'm taking this to FanDuel then. Well, never mind.
Taking my business to FanDuel.
We could do it on FanDuel if you want.
Yeah, let me see here.
Do you want me to do it on FanDuel?
I don't see him on there either.
Weird.
No Hannafin for you, my friend.
Yeah. We talked about
Interesting.
Kopitar at 1.5.
Oh yeah. I mean, I want
Every bit
shares
of
of
that.
that.
I know, right? Yeah.
All right,
like
so we have Johnston point, Kane 2.5, Kopitar 1.5. That's plus 437.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine by me. I just want to win.
Right?
I got hooked so bad last night. I just need to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah, more legs always just makes it more sketchy. So I don't mind that. Do you guys want to look at an alt one on FanDuel, just like alt shots? Like just do 3 or 4 alt shot props.
Sure.
Yeah, I have in that one in terms of LA Edmonton. I had Kopitar at 2. Do you want to add that one at 60 minutes?
Let's not do it. I don't want Kopitar
Yeah.
on 30 spots.
Yeah, I
Okay.
want to double up. Yeah, I don't want to
Don't
double
wanna
up.
double up.
I was
All right.
thinking like Johnston 3, Robertson 3, or no?
It's fine. It's
Or
fine.
or do we want someone on Vegas side? Do we want like March or so 3?
I like March. I'm on him, but I don't mind doing another one with him. Hurdle has not missed at all.
Hurdle's 2 though, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to just stick with this one because the game starts? What do we have, an hour?
We got an hour.
Or
Yeah,
do
we
you-
got an hour. We got an hour.
Okay.
We got an hour, yeah.
All right.
All right, let me get this one logged in.
I gotta post these picks. I haven't posted anything tonight.
All right. It's constantly up against the clock. So if we did Johnson, March or so, that's plus 148 just for those two, both at 3.
Kempe,
then-
Fiala.
Kempe 3.
Denault at 2 looks great.
Well, who's our other?
Edmonton person.
Yeah, I feel like we should do
Kane?
one from
Dry.
Dry.
Well, we have
Three.
Kane in the other one.
Yeah, we have Kane the other one. Hold on, let's see.
I mean, Hyman at 3. Hyman at home.
Yeah, I'm at 3 probably, right? What's his let me check his chart real quick.
It's not great.
No. I mean, do we think McDavid goes off again with shots, or is that just sketchy because he's just all over the place?
Arvidsson hit again.
What about Bouchard? I thought,
Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked about Bouchard.
Yeah.
yeah, Bouchard. Bouchard 3, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's Bouchard, Kempe.
Yeah, Bouchard, Kempe 3. So Kempe and Bouchard 3, Johnston and Marchessault 3 is plus 566. I don't know if you want to change out any of those guys.
I mean, we can just run both.
Yeah, 2 and 2.
Yeah.
Like run each of them separately.
Yeah, just have 2 different parlays tonight.
Yeah. I like that one.
All right. You want to send me that one and I'll post it
Yeah.
along with the other one?
Do it on my phone right now, so I already.
Okay.
All right, cool.
All right. That sounds good. We'll post those for everyone listening in a few minutes. All right. We may be back. What do we talk about? Friday or tomorrow depending on the number of games. So stay on the lookout for that. If LA does win tonight, but if not, we will probably do another one next week. I'm guessing sometime.
Yeah,
for
for sure.
Maybe a series preview of round 2 at some point. So stay tuned for that. Before we log off here, you guys want to shout out your socials one last time?
Yeah, Franco the Banker on Twitter.
Gretzky Betsky on Twitter.
Awesome. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Gator Betting and our podcast at Expected Bets 4. We appreciate everyone for tuning in, and best of luck tonight.